You don't need to invest in a 3-day course or buy some guru's $120 Discord package to make money betting sports. All you need is 10 minutes. So here's step 1. This is where casual bettors get completely annihilated. They'll blame bad beats, say the games are rigged, anything really besides the real problem. But in reality, it's just that they didn't understand this one simple concept. Okay, it's your birthday. You get cash from grandma, your parents, a few cool uncles maybe, and suddenly you're holding $400 in crisp 20s. And your brain starts thinking, this is basically free money. Time to flip it. Foreshadowing? I know. So, you scroll through Twitter and there it is. 6-leg super boost. And you take that as a sign from the universe. The guy pitching it swears his buddy used to date the kicker's sister, so obviously he's got the inside scoop. You throw $60 on it, easy rent money, right? First leg smashes, and you're celebrating like you've already won. Second leg, clutch, but it sneaks through, and you call this destiny, baby. By the fourth leg, you're on DoorDash, looking at what kind of steak dinner to order to treat yourself on your big day. Now it's down to one leg, your team's up 14 with under a minute left. And then, with 0.9 seconds left, the defense decides to let some scrub backup quarterback waltz down the field for the most pointless touchdown in history. And just like that, you didn't hit a heater. You just became another ATM for the sportsbook. Yeah, been there, done that. In fact, I've lived this story more times than I'd like to admit. And I realized the only way to stop repeating the same mistake over and over again is to only bet when the numbers say you've got an edge. So, how would you know if something's got an edge? Simple. You track your plays. And I get it. Spreadsheets sound boring. But without tracking, you'll never know which bets are printing money and which ones are draining your roll. That's why I built a bet tracker that does all the heavy lifting for you. It logs every unit, highlights patterns, shows you where you're winning, and shows you what's off. That way, you don't have to keep playing the guessing game anymore. And slips like this start showing up on your board every single day. Links down in the description if you want to grab it. Or if you're watching on TV, use your phone to scan the QR code on screen. I know what you're thinking. But don't some people hit those 6-leg parlays and come home with a buttload of money? And yeah, you'd be right. Some people do hit parlays and win, but that's like 5% of bettors. The other 95%, well, they're just praying to the sports betting gods to get at least one lucky streak. And that's the biggest foul ever, because they're not using logic or math. They're betting with emotion. And here's what I mean. US Open 2025. Djokovic versus Alcaraz. It was the matchup of the year. All week, people were calling Novak a sure thing. One buddy of mine even shoved his entire account on him at negative 450, telling anyone who'd listen it was basically free cash. Except, the match didn't open the way he imagined. Alcaraz broke serve early with a blistering forehand that left Novak flat-footed, but my guy was still confident. Djokovic always starts slow. He'll pick up the pace soon enough. But he never did. Alcaraz kept piling on the pressure. Drop shots, angles, heavy pace. At one point, Djokovic looked like he was chasing shadows, and by the second set, it was all over. Alcaraz took the win, and my guy sat there in silence, staring at his phone balance like it personally betrayed him. And the problem is, that wasn't a bet based on numbers. It was emotion disguised as certainty. And even if the math had been on his side, going all in is still a losing strategy. Because in sports, one bad bounce, one hot night from the other guy, and your bankroll's gone. Which brings us here. Because sports betting isn't about who wins, it's about whether the odds are wrong. So let me show you what that actually looks like. Imagine a book post plus 250 on an underdog, but you've crunched the numbers and know the true odds should be closer to plus 180. At plus 250, the implied probability is just 28.6%, but at plus 180, it's about 35.7%. That gap, that's your edge. So when you bet at plus 250, you're basically getting overpaid. And that's what a positive EV bet looks like. Now don't get it twisted, you're still riding an underdog. And you're probably going to take losses more often than not. But say you throw $100 on that line across 10 games and only hit 4. That's $1,000 back on $600 in losses, giving you a profit of $400. And this is the part sportsbooks hate. Because the second you start stacking those wins, you're not fueling their bottom line anymore. You're cutting into it. And that's when accounts get flagged and suddenly you're the one making the bookie sweat. But how do you actually find picks that are profitable bets? Do you sign up to a Discord server of some guy who flashes his fake money in front of his fake car, like this guy? Well, this takes us to step 4, and let's think about it like this. Say, you're in need of a quick getaway. So you bust out your laptop, search flights on Google, and you see two airlines selling seats to the same destination. One's charging $650 and the other's charging $500. It's the same economy round-trip ticket with a £50 checked-in baggage. Which one are you choosing? Obviously the cheaper one, right? You just got more value for the same thing. And that's how sharp bettors treat sportsbooks. Every book is just a different airline ticket with different prices for the same game. And your job is to always grab the best number. The catch is, checking a dozen websites every day is a massive waste of time. That's why I use a tool called OddsJam. It scans across all the books for lines that are off bets, where the payout is bigger than the true probability. And yeah, it's a paid tool, but when you're consistently landing positive EV plays like this one, it basically pays for itself. And if you want to see how other people are doing with OddsJam, then feel free to join our private community. Everyone who signs up to OddsJam through my link gets to join the community for free. Inside, we share our bet trackers, compare results, and help each other stay consistent. One of our members even shared their impressive profits for September 2024. So if you're interested in joining 86 plus other sports bettors who are absolutely kicking butt, then click the link in the description to learn more. Or scan the QR code up on the screen. But being a profitable bettor involves much more than finding good plays. It's also learning how to manage your bankroll correctly. I've seen it too many times before. Casual bettors making this one simple mistake that ruins the entire game. And what do? They lock up their entire bankroll on games that don't start for a week, thinking it's the smart thing to do, but just think about it for a second. If you're betting 1% per play and you fire off 100 bets that all settle days later, you've done absolutely nothing but put your bankroll in the freezer, because now you can't place new bets, can't adjust if variance smacks you. And you're stuck staring at pending tickets like a kid waiting for Christmas morning. So here's what I do. I keep most of your action within 24 to 48 hours of game time. Occasionally, I'll grab a line a week out if the value's insane, but that's the exception. That way your money keeps cycling and you're not sitting there with a locked up bankroll collecting dust. But even if you're disciplined, betting on hundreds of games a month adds up. And sooner or later, you'll hit a nasty streak. It might not happen often, maybe once every couple of years, but when it does, it stings. I had it happen once. My bankroll was up, confidence sky high, then out of nowhere, 12 straight losses. And for most people, that's their breaking point. They tilt, start chasing, rip up their rules, and torch their bankroll. But I've got a simple safeguard. Normally I reset unit size once a week. But if the bankroll tanks 20% midweek, say from $10,000 down to $8,000, you can't keep firing $100 bets. You stop, adjust, and scale down to 1% of what's left. Meaning now, you're risking $80 a play instead of $100. I know it sounds like a minor change, but it's a mental lifesaver. It slows the spiral, buys you breathing room, and keeps your bankroll alive long enough for variance to swing back. Trust me, with this one rule, one bad month won't turn into a financial disaster. But just because you've got the safety net doesn't mean you're in the clear. So if you want to stop losing money, check out this next video. I studied over 1,000 bets, and I'm sharing everything I learned so you can avoid making the same mistakes and keep stacking profit like Buffett. I'll see you there.